Hey guys, Alex975 here today, and as you can see in the title of today's video, I wanted to make a video talking about why I think Disney should stop making movies, at least for the foreseeable future, until they get their act together. Now, if you've watched any of my videos in the previous any videos I've made on commentary videos, I've always talked about why I hate Disney and why I hate what they've been doing recently. Obviously, Disney back in the 1990s were an amazing company, at least at quality of their movies, and in the 2010s and 2000s they were doing pretty good as well, but nowhere as good as their 1990s. But obviously with the 2020s they've been doing terrible, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. And I think it's no secret, I think everyone has kind of got mad at Disney recently because they're ruining franchises. Obviously that's the big franchises that I'm going to be talking about are Star Wars and Marvel, but even their own original content like their Disney princess movies are all being ruined. Snow White is the perfect example, and even their Pixar movies, which I will branch together with the Disney princess movies, and I'll be talking about the franchises as well. So as I was saying about the franchises, I have a lot to talk about for Marvel. Star Wars the same, but not as much to talk about. Love both companies, but I'm really into Marvel, and you will know if you've watched any of my videos talking about Marvel movies, you'll know that I'm really mad at Disney, how they've done this, ruined Marvel basically completely. But yeah, Marvel has made in the last 4 years, I think it is, since basically after Endgame came out, there's been basically no good projects, and they've made about 30 projects, and 2 of them were really good, and 2 of them were mid. The rest were absolute garbage. The 2 that were really good, I think, is no secret. It was Spider-Man No Way Home and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Spider-Man No Way Home, though, had a lot of build-up to it. Spider-Man's always successful, and also it had the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire fan service and the villains coming back. So I think no matter how bad that movie was, it was going to do good just because of this fan service. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was a brilliant movie. It had brilliant characters, so couldn't go wrong, and they had a brilliant director with James Gunn, who is now left, and I think that's the biggest mistake Marvel has made since the conception of Marvel, because James Gunn really was brilliant at every movie he's made, including DC movies, have all been brilliant movies, and getting rid of him was a big mistake, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 shows why, because it was the last good Marvel movie since, like, that's the last good Marvel movie that's came out since then. But I do think Deadpool 3 will be successful, but again, that's because it's inevitable that it's going to do good, because it's just a great franchise and you can't go wrong when it comes to Deadpool. But the rest of the projects, the 2 mid projects, were Moon Knight and Loki, which I enjoyed watching, but I do have to say they were only mid. They had boring parts in them. They had some good moments, and I would say it was a mid shows. So Disney shows have been complete flops, and it's all to get everyone to get Disney Plus, which is really annoying people, because it's so obvious what they're trying to do, which is compete with Netflix. And everyone thought back around 2 or 3 years ago that Disney Plus were going to overtake Netflix, because Netflix had to make original projects, whereas Disney had all these well-known franchises. But now it's coming back to haunt Disney, because Disney weren't actually looking at what they were making. They were just making it with big titles and hoping people will watch it, which they did, but then they stopped and they lost trust in Disney, because all they were producing was crap. Like, they were all just nothing. They were all bad, and I think that's still going on to this day, which is really disappointing. Because there was a lot of potential in it, because I have Disney Plus, but I do have to say that I don't use it anywhere as much as I use Netflix, because Netflix just has better shows on it. But yeah, Disney is really heavily driving their Disney Plus, and I think it's coming back to haunt them now. Now with Star Wars, I think Star Wars is in a state of, like, it's just going to, it can't get better really, because Disney, they had one good thing they made, which was The Mandalorian, and that they even ruined in Season 3. I do have to say Season 3 it was really mid at best, and it's because they really heavily pushed that Baby Yoda stuff, which I even didn't like in Season 2. I really wanted that storyline to end, because I think everyone agrees with this. we all wanted to see the Mandalorian go on his solo journeys, and then all it was ever about was Baby Yoda and all that storyline, which was really annoying because it was supposed to be like a space cowboy show, and season 1 of The Mandalorian is really good, and it's actually the best episodes are the ones without Baby Yoda, and I think everyone agrees on that. Maybe not everyone. It really was appealing to the child audience, which is really bad for Disney because the child audience is going to watch anyways. They're going to watch anything because there's plenty for children on Disney Plus, but it's the older audiences that are harder to get, and they'll actually be the ones paying for it, obviously. So the older audiences are the one you want to get, and The Mandalorian could have been perfect for that. Obviously the other Disney Plus Star Wars shows, apparently Ahsoka is mixed feelings on it. I haven't watched it, but apparently some people think it was great and some people think it was bad. And then there was I think it's called Vandor, or I don't know what it's called, but I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. And that one was watched by no one, including myself, but it's supposed to be really good, which is really annoying because that's like, it obviously had bad advertising, whereas the others have great advertising, but they're terrible. Now I'm going to be talking mainly about the Star Wars movies, because obviously the original trilogy, it was brilliant, and then the prequels are they were hated for a long time, and now they're getting loads of recognition and love because the new sequel trilogy was terrible, and I don't think anyone questions that. I don't have high standards. I like the prequels. I do have to say they are quite boring at times. Revenge of the Sith was brilliant. Phantom Menace I actually quite like. Attack of the Clones, I'm not really a big fan of that one. But with the sequel trilogy, I didn't like any of them. I do have to say The Last Jedi, at least that was experimental, but that still didn't work great because they had a director with J.J. Abrams, changed him, and then changed him back to J.J. Abrams, so it was a complete mess, because there was conflict in story with the directors, you could clearly see, and yeah, that's where Star Wars is at the moment. I've heard rumors that there's going to be another sequel trilogy, but I do not think it will be well made, because Disney are not learning their lesson, and they really need to take a step back. I do have to say that I was saying in my last video that Disney, that Deadpool 3 was going to save the MCU, because it was going to be the only project that year, but I didn't realize that there were shows coming out this year, and that Echo show that came out, I haven't even watched it yet, but apparently it's terrible. So yeah, Disney are still doing it bad with Marvel, and it's like, that's your most powerful project, and you just keep rubbing mud in its face. It's just being ruined the whole time. It's like, why are you doing that? Because people are less and less watching Marvel movies because you have made them so bad and so watered down. So why don't you just take a step back, let everyone be excited again for a Marvel movie, and actually release a good Marvel movie? That's the annoying thing. Now on to the Disney Princess stuff. I don't know much about it. I do have to say, Pixar movies, I think it's unanimous that it's been pretty bad lately and pretty stale. But then the Snow White project, I'm not even going to get into it. I think everyone knows at this point why that's going to be bad, and why it's kind of inevitable that it's just going to completely flop. And it's like from the start it was doomed. And like, yeah, Disney, I don't know what they're thinking at the moment. I think they're just really pushing this Disney Plus stuff, but I do think Disney is in a mess right now, and I think the best thing they could do is just take a step back from the big franchises. They should just make original shows on Disney Plus, slowly release stuff, but nothing really, so that fans can be riled up again, really want to see these movies again, and then they'll watch it and release something good. The only way Disney can succeed is by completely shutting down for a while. That's my opinion. I know not everyone will agree with that. I know that Disney is not completely at fault, although like it is mainly like with Marvel, it's because they've been making poor director choices. I think the perfect example is so I'm forgetting the name now, but you know the guy from Thor Ragnarok who directed that. You could see Thor Ragnarok was a great movie, but then Thor Love and Thunder was a terrible movie. And he is, I think he's fired for the next movie. I don't think he'll be the director for the next movie, because he clearly was just doing it for the money, and he literally admitted it, which yeah, I don't think it was a shock to anyone because his movies were clearly all kind of the same. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. If you want to see me talk more about this, please consider liking the video and subscribing, because I do like to talk about these topics, and I really do like to talk about why Disney are basically ruining all the franchises they own. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.